By the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding on echoes and withering waves. Wait a minute, that's the wrong game. So what is an echo? Well, in Wuthering Waves, every non-human enemy has a base 20% chance to drop an echo, which is basically a copy of themselves that you can collect and equip onto your characters. Now let's talk about the databank. The first tab shows your current databank level and the information below that is affected by that level. Base drop rate does not change no matter how high level you are on your databank, because that is just saying that no matter what enemy you kill, as long as it can drop an echo, there's a 20% chance it'll drop an echo. Enhanced drop rate is a little bit special. 15 times per week, you can kill an Overlord or Calamity class echo, and it has that enhanced drop rate. Now, Overlord and Calamity classes are the 4-cost echoes that are available to you, and more on that later. The highest drop rate means that when an echo drops, it has this percentage chance of being that rarity. So 80% 5-star and 20% 4-star in this case. And your cost limit just shows how many echoes you can equip or the type of echoes you can equip. The echo gallery shows all the echoes you've collected and up to what rarity you've collected them, as well as the echoes that you have not collected yet. The Sonata gallery basically shows all the echoes that are available on specific sets. And we'll talk more about those sets later. The data merge section allows you to combine echoes you don't want, and it randomly spits out an echo based on your highest drop rate. So you're probably wondering what's the most efficient way of leveling up your data bank. Well, you want to go over here to your echo gallery section and go all the way down the bottom. You want to start from the bottom up. See how I don't have a 5-star version of this guy, and I don't even have this one. By using their track feature, you can now go to where it is on the map, fight it, and get a chance of dropping it. On top of that, you can even track echoes you never caught before. So see this one, nothing's there. I can sit here, it shows me it's a light crusher, and I can go detect and I can go look for it. Another way of leveling up your data bank fast is doing the depths of the elusive realm. Now, this is generally a time-sensitive event that happens every patch, at least up to this video's release, where you can go over here and the store will contain echoes you can buy with the currency you get from the event. And by buying all these echoes, you're able to quickly fill out your data bank. Now, some echoes may not appear depending on your data bank level. So I think you need to be level 30 before the golden echoes or the 5-star echoes appear here. Now, the other method I like to use when you hit a higher data bank level is the data merge feature. It's very useful if you farmed a bunch of echoes. So for example, if you're level 14 or 15, you see how the 5-star and 4-star drop rates are there? So let's say you've been collecting echoes since here, where there's 2 3-stars. You have a lot of those laying around. Once you hit level 15, you have 5-star and 4-star drop rates. You data merge there at 15. All those lower level echoes will turn into what your highest drop rate would be. And it'll spit out those echoes. And you also have a chance of getting extra echo. And this can also help you fill out your data bank really fast if you have a bunch of useless echoes laying around. Now let's talk about echo cost. Every echo has a cost associated with it. As you can see, we have 4 costs, 3 costs, and 1 cost. So the amount of echoes you can equip will equal to the max cost you have. And when you're now starting out, this may be 10. But eventually 12 is the max, and that's where you'll go once you've gotten your data bank to a certain level. So every echo has a specific Sonata effect associated with it, and some echoes may have 2 different effects. So for example, under the Sonata gallery that we talked about earlier, you see under this one, there's a tambourinist. Well, under another Sonata effect, you can see that there's a tambourinist there. So that means the tambourinist has a chance of being freezing frost or sinking eclipse. Now, to get into more details on Sonata effects, once you've equipped a certain number of echoes, you'll get bonuses based on it. So, for example, you see how once I equip this fifth one, I have, with 5 echoes of Void Thunder, I have these benefits. But there's something very important to note. If you equip the same type of echo, so for example, you see how I have a hair in here and a hair in here. If I equip it, you see I don't get that effect. Even though I have 5 echoes with Void Thunder, I only get 4 out of 5. And that is because the same echoes will not be counted towards the Sonata effect. So make sure when you're equipping echoes that they're all different echoes. Now you're probably wondering, how do I know which echo skill is being used out of the 5 that are present? Well, the first one is the one that determines what echo skill is casted when you press the echo button. So for this example, you see the cyan feathered hair in here. The moment I cast my echo button, you see that it's the heron. Now, what special skill you use depends on your playstyle and how you want to play the game. But there's some other things to note here on this page. You see this light bulb here? So it tells you that this heron interrupts special skills. You're probably wondering, well, what's a special skill? Well, by clicking that light bulb, it will help you understand the skill better. The other thing is you see this outline button on top here? You see how this just says arrow damage plus? Well, by clicking this outline button, it gives you a more detailed look at the skills. So it tells you the exact percentages so that you know which echoes you would want to use. Now, depending on the cost of the echoes, that will determine what type of stats appear on those echoes. So in the charts above, you will see that I have listed everything possible. And this information has come from a really good website called Pridewin, which I will link below in the description. Now that you know that certain sets can have multiple echoes attached onto them, you can see that there are 2 ways to achieve the cost 12. You either go 4-4 and 3 1s, or 4-3-3-1-1. Now, eventually, by the end of the game, every player should probably move towards 4-3-3-1-1. The reason being is that the 3 costs are the only ones that can have the elemental damage bonus, and the 4 costs are the only ones that have the crit rate or crit damage bonus. Now, when you're just starting the game and you're progressing the story, you're going to have access to a lot of the 4 cost echoes. So, depending on your element type or the sets you want, you may have the ability to equip a 4-4-1-1-1. And the reason why you may hear a lot of people saying that's really good in the beginning is because they are very easy to farm. The reason being is that the 1 cost echoes are very abundant in the world, and the 4 costs you can farm infinitely because they're generally bosses. If you take a look here, you can see that there are bosses on the map. You see that this Inferno Rider here, that's a 4 cost echo, and you can farm that infinitely. It responds every 2 to 3 minutes. And then, if we go over here, you can fight this character called Dreamless, which will also spawn a 4 cost echo based on your highest drop rate. And with these two, you can form the 4-4-1-1-1-1. And the reason why it's cheap damage, because let's say you don't have a crit rate weapon, right? You see how this weapon's crit rate? Let's say it was attack percentage. What this allows you to do now on your echo section is I can be like, well, now I can have a crit rate and I can have a crit damage piece as well. So now you can achieve those values of dealing damage a lot easier, and then you can have 3 with attack percentages. So this is cheap damage very early on. But I will say that if you do have the corresponding 3 cost, it's still worth it more than the 4-4-1-1-1. And I'll link in the description a video I made on this. Now let's talk about what happens when you level up echoes. So each rarity can only go to a certain max level, and that max level determines how many substats you have. An echo can have multiple different substats, and that substat can generally be the same as the main stat in most cases. Every 5 levels, you can unlock a substat. So let's take this Echo, for example. We're going to use an experiment. You see, when I get it to level 10, you now see this ability here called tuning. And what this does is it levels up or like unlocks a substat. So as you get closer to max level, you get extra benefits depending on what's shown here. And what's shown here is at random. As of this video, you cannot change these substats. It is what it is. So what truly determines a good echo? That's really highly dependent on the type of character you're trying to build. So I'm going to use Jinchi for example. I have a crit rate weapon on her. So maybe she'll get enough crit rate to deal a significant amount of damage. So I decided to go for a crit damage 4 cost Echo here. And then because she's a Spectro DPS, I went for 2 Spectro 3 cost. And because she scales off of attack, I went for 2 1 cost at her attack. Let's say she scaled off of defense, then these 2 1 cost will be defense. And the substats you're looking for are what you use the most. Now, for main DPSs, I will say that crit rate and crit damage are probably the best stat. You're probably wondering how to create the ultimate Echo. Now, unlocking substats is RNG, but there are some techniques you can use to minimize the amount of resources you waste. So, let's say I wanted to level up an Inferno Rider. Let's say pretend he was level 0. You will level him up to plus 10, and you will unlock the first 2 substats. So this is a crit damage. So let's say I wanted crit rate. Well, these are not crit rate. I would personally stop right there and go take another Inferno Rider. And then I would then feed the one I didn't want. This one right here I didn't want, and then get that one now to plus 10. And then unlock those substats now. And let's pretend this was crit damage. I got crit rate. Okay, I'll stop there and be like, this is an Echo I think is worth taking up to plus 25. Now, you can go to each individual level, right? You can go to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So that's up to you. But I do think getting it to plus 10 first is the best way because it uses a minimum amount of resources. Let's talk about the different ways you could acquire echoes. Now, tacit fields are scattered across the map. You'll see the symbol right here. If you want a list of all of them, you can go to your guidebook and go to the second tab in tacit suppression. And let's say like, okay, I want to make a fire character. Well, you can go over here to this one here, and you see that it drops electro or fire. And you can farm these and narrow these sets down. So let's say your entire team is fire. Maybe you want to go here and farm it. And this is a very good way of getting your 3 cost echoes. But the problem is it costs wave plate energy for this. And you only have a limited number of this per day. This is, however, the best way to get tubes and tuners if you quickly need to get them. But I'm going to go over other ways of acquiring these echoes that are either limited time or event based. Now, scattered across the map, there are these monsters that glow red. The first time you kill them, they're guaranteed an echo drop of 4 or 5 star rarity depending on what level they are. In the description below, I will link a video that shows you where they're all located. But once you kill these guys, and their levels are set. So this guy is 45 no matter what your soul level is. And he'll guarantee drop an echo. The first time I think you kill this guy, he's a guaranteed 4-star echo. Then after you kill them once, they will drop an echo depending on your rarity rank. Now, there's an event that seems to happen every 6 weeks, or at least every patch I've seen it. It was here in 1.0, and now it's back again in 1.1, called Depths of the Elusive Realm. By completing this event, you're going to get some in-game currency. That's this right here. And it lets you buy echoes here. Now, this echo is just a random echo, but there is another one that's called Malleable Elite Class Echo. And that turns into whatever you want it to be. So, for example, I think I still have it in my inventory. So, you see right here how it is called Malibu Elite Class Echo. You see Freezing Frost set Rostrum. So, what in Glacial damage? So, what this means is that if I choose this Rostrum, it is the Glacial set with the Glacial Elemental damage bonus. This is some of the best ways of getting early game 5-star 3-cost echoes on set on element. Now, I will tell you this. This will not appear in the shop until you've hit Union rank level 30. It may be locked out or it may not appear, but once you hit rank 30, it will pop up in the shop and you can buy it. You also can get your premium tuners and sealed tubes as well. I've already bought it. That's why it's gone. Now, outside the elusive realm, as well as the tacit fields, the other way of acquiring echoes is bosses around the map. Now, like you see how this Thundering Memphis is here, this Impera's Heron, these guys are scattered across the map, and these are guaranteed 4-cost echoes. They're not going to be 3 or 1, they're always going to be 4. And these can be farmed infinitely because they spawn every 2 to 3 minutes. Now, there are some that are an instant base, so like this, the Crownless, you can come over here and farm these infinitely as well. And don't be fooled. You don't need Wayplate energy to farm this. You can go and choose a weaker level. And like if it's too weak, like I'm union level 60. So if I come here, it says it will not drop an echo. I can just come over here to this third one and it'll let me fight it. And you can kill it and then dip out. So you come over here and you can try to kill it. And you'll see that after I kill it, it'll drop an echo, or like it'll have a chance. But you see right there, it dropped an echo. You can collect it, and you don't have to collect these. You can just leave the domain and rinse and repeat. You come back over here, and you can keep farming them. So that, I think, is the best way to acquire your 4-cost echo, and, well, it is your only way to guarantee a specific echo. Like I said, the elusive realm, you can buy the Overlord and Calamity class echoes, but it spits it out at random. Let's talk about the different ways you can get your tuners. Now, obviously, the elusive realm, as mentioned before, you can get them for free, no stamina cost or anything. That is the free way, but you'll run out of stock eventually. The other way is if you go here to store and you get this currency when you roll called oscillated coral. If you're really in desperate need, you can sit here and buy these. You can buy 80 of these over here. The other way is if you come over here in Jinzhou and you talk to this lady with the present, Gonshu, you can sit here and buy it over here as well. It's going to cost you these wood stacks you get from exploring the world and doing quests and opening chests and stuff. And of course, the other way is going to be your tacit fields, like I mentioned before. They are also another way of acquiring them, no matter what time period you're at, whether it's an event. You'll always be able to do this, but it costs you Wayplate energy. And of course, you can get them randomly throughout the world. So those are majority of the ways you can get your premium sealed tuner as well as your sealed tubes. So let me give you the quick roadmap to getting the best echoes for your first DPS if you have not done anything yet. First, you're going to select your DPS. I'll select Jinchi. You're going to farm the 4-cost echo that corresponds to the DPS you want. So let's say once you're farming that, you'll need to now get your 1-cost echoes. These are fairly easy to farm across the map. You just track them in the echo database and kill them until you get a bunch of them that you need. Your 3-cost echo, for the very first time, you're going to go to the elusive realm. As long as that elusive realm is up, it should happen at least once per patch, so once every 6 weeks. You're going to buy the malleable echo. Not this one, this is morphable. The malleable echo, then that will allow you to get the right set and right main stat. So now you go over there and you get the 3-cost echoes that you need for your character. And then you level them up based on the amount of sealed tubes you have, and that is your very first DPS done. Now, as for your other DPSs, depending on the point you are in the game, and depending on the set you want, so let's say you have an electric DPS, you can go with a 4-4-1-1-1 and just get some quick damage, and then eventually transition to a 4-3-3-1-1-1 or 1-1. I'm the Gotcha Game Cultivator. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.